If you are driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol and you are involved in a crash that results in a death of another person, you may A. Be charged with vehicular homicide. B. Be fined and sentenced to a term in prison. C. Both of the above. C. Both of the above. If you are driving under the influence and are involved in a crash that results in death, you will be charged with vehicular homicide. A conviction for vehicular homicide may result in a fine and prison sentence. Collisions are more likely to happen when A. All vehicles are traveling at about the same speed. B. One lane of traffic is traveling faster than the other lanes. C. One vehicle is traveling faster or slower than the flow of traffic. C. One vehicle is traveling faster or slower than the flow of traffic. Collisions are more likely to happen when one driver moves faster or slower than the other vehicles on the road. Driving faster than other traffic increases your chance of being involved in a collision. Driving more slowly than other traffic is also dangerous because it can increase the risk of a rear-end collision with your vehicle or cause other drivers to swerve to avoid hitting you. This sign means A. Do not enter. B. Stop ahead. C. Roadwork or maintenance is present. C. Roadwork or maintenance is present. Orange, diamond-shaped signs are used to mark construction, maintenance, survey, and utility work areas. These signs help direct drivers and pedestrians safely through dangerous zones. Fines for traffic convictions may double in areas marked by these signs. At a crosswalk, A. You must yield to pedestrians. B. Pedestrians must yield to you. C. Construction workers must yield to you. A. You must yield to pedestrians. Pedestrians have the right of way at street crossings but must obey traffic control signals. Where a traffic signal is not present, vehicles must stop for pedestrians in a crosswalk, whether it is marked or unmarked.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
This sign means A. Pedestrians walking along the road ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Pedestrians must not cross here. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. Warning signs are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to where pedestrians may be crossing. If a pedestrian is crossing in a crosswalk marked with this sign, drivers must stop and remain stopped until the pedestrian is no longer in the crosswalk. This sign means you are approaching a railroad crossing that does not have a signal. You should A. Come to a complete stop. B. Proceed at a consistent speed while looking and listening for approaching trains. C. Slow down, look both ways, listen for any trains, and be prepared to stop if any trains are nearby. C. Slow down, look both ways, listen for any trains, and be prepared to stop if any trains are nearby. At a railroad crossing marked with this sign, a driver should look both ways, listen for any trains, and be prepared to stop if any trains are nearby. Never try to outdrive an oncoming train. As you approach the top of a hill, you should A. Speed up slightly. B. Prepare to stop, if needed. C. Maintain a steady speed. B. Prepare to stop, if needed. You may not know what is on the other side of a hill or just around a curve, even if you have driven the road many times. If a vehicle is stalled just out of sight on the roadway, you must be able to stop. Whenever you come to a hill or curve, adjust your speed so you can stop if necessary. What message will be found on this yellow pennant-shaped sign? A. Right turns only. B. Right turns permitted. C. No passing zone. C. No passing zone. Pennant-shaped yellow signs like this are used to indicate a no passing zone. If the roadway is wet or icy, you should A. Reduce your speed. B. Drive at the posted speed. C. Speed up. A. Reduce your speed. Because your tires will not grip the road under wet, snowy, or icy conditions as well as they will under dry conditions, you should slow down if the roadway is wet or icy. This road sign means A. Watch for people crossing your path. B. No passing zone. C. Work zone ahead. C. Work zone ahead. This orange warning sign tells drivers that an area of roadwork is upcoming. When traveling through a work zone, stay alert for temporary traffic control devices. This sign means A. Stop sign ahead. B. Railroad crossing ahead. C. Construction ahead. B. Railroad crossing ahead. A round sign always indicates that you are approaching a railroad crossing. What should you do when you see this sign? A. Look for a train station ahead. B. Signal before going any further. C. Slow down and yield to trains. C. Slow down and yield to trains. A round sign means you are approaching a railroad crossing. This sign is posted a few hundred feet in front of the tracks and tells drivers to slow down, look, listen, and prepare to stop. If you come to an intersection and your view to the side is blocked, you should A. Slow down and look both ways. B. Maintain your speed and look both ways. C. Stop, then inch forward until you can see clearly in both directions. C. Stop, then inch forward until you can see clearly in both directions. Drivers must slow down when approaching an intersection. If a clear view of cross traffic is obscured, a driver should come to a stop and inch forward until they can see clearly in both directions. If you plan to pass another vehicle, you should A. Not assume the other driver will make space for you to return to your lane. B. Assume the other driver will let you pass if you use your turn signal. C. Assume the other driver will maintain a constant speed. A. Not assume the other driver will make space for you to return to your lane. Even when you signal, you should not assume that the space you want to occupy is free or that other drivers will give you the right of way. If you are driving and the rear end of your car starts skidding to the left, you should A. Steer to the right. B. Steer to the left. C. Tap your brakes lightly and shift into neutral. B. Steer to the left. If your vehicle enters a skid, you should take your foot off of the brake and steer in the direction that you want to go. For example, if the rear of your vehicle is skidding to the left, you should steer to the left. This will help bring the front of the vehicle in line with the rear, thereby straightening out the vehicle's overall direction. It is legal to make a left turn at a red traffic light after stopping only if A. You are traveling on a two-way street and turning onto a two-way street. B. You are traveling on a one-way street and turning onto another one-way street. C. You yield to all other traffic at the intersection. B. You are traveling on a one-way street and turning onto another one-way street. After coming to a complete stop, you may turn left at a red light only if you are traveling on a one-way street and turning onto another one-way street. Only make the turn if there are no posted signs prohibiting such a turn. To avoid traction loss on wet roads, you should A. Make abrupt turns. B. Apply the brakes firmly. C. Slow down. Highway pavement will be particularly treacherous and most slippery. A. If it has been raining several hours. B. If it has just begun to rain. C. If it has been raining for 1 to 2 hours. B. If it has just begun to rain. Pavement is particularly treacherous when it first begins to rain. Accumulations of dirt and oil mix with the rainwater, creating a greasy film on the roadway. You can help keep the driver behind you a safe distance away from your vehicle by A. Driving 10 miles per hour faster than the car behind you. B. Driving 10 miles per hour slower than the car behind you. C. Maintaining a steady speed. C. Maintaining a steady speed. It is not always easy to maintain a safe distance behind your vehicle. However, you can help keep the driver behind you a safe distance away from your vehicle by maintaining a steady speed and signaling turns, lane changes, and deceleration in advance. When being passed by another vehicle. A. Brake hard. B. Maintain a constant speed. C. Speed up. B. Maintain a constant speed. When being passed, you must yield to the passing vehicle and not increase your speed. Allow the vehicle to safely merge back into your lane. If bad weather makes it difficult for you to see clearly, you should A. Speed up to get off the road quickly. B. Drive in the lane closest to oncoming traffic. C. Increase your following distance. C. Increase your following distance. When it is difficult to see due to darkness or poor weather, increase your following distance. This will give you more time to react to hazards that you may not see in advance. The center of the roadway is marked with one solid yellow line and one broken yellow line. If the broken yellow line is directly next to your traffic lane, it means A. You are not allowed to pass in this area. B. You are in a passing zone and it is safe for you to pass other vehicles on the left if no oncoming traffic is present. C. You are only allowed to make right turns in this area. B. You are in a passing zone and it is safe for you to pass other vehicles on the left if no oncoming traffic is present. When there is a solid yellow line and a broken yellow line in the center of the road, passing is permitted from the side of the road next to the broken line. Hydroplaning occurs when tires ride on a thin film of water instead of on the road. To prevent hydroplaning in wet weather, you should A. Put on your cruise control to maintain a constant speed. B. Slow down. C. Move to the shoulder of the road as soon as it starts to rain. B. Slow down. Hydroplaning is caused by driving too fast on a wet road. Slow down when driving on wet pavement to prevent hydroplaning. A sign with this shape means A. No passing zone. B. Right turn permitted on red. C. Yield right of way. A. No passing zone. A pennant-shaped sign marks the beginning of a no passing zone. This yellow sign means A. There is a sharp turn to the right. B. The lane must turn right. C. A right turn is permitted on a green arrow only. A. There is a sharp turn to the right. Some warning signs have a fluorescent yellow-green background. These signs warn of upcoming conditions, including roads with curves and sharp turns. Which of the following statements about driving speed is true? A. As your speed increases, the chance of a fatality increases. B. As your speed increases, so should your following distance. C. Both of the above. C. Both of the above. As driving speeds increase, the chance of a fatality in the case of a collision increases. If you are going faster than 80 miles per hour, you have almost no chance of living through a crash. The speed you drive affects your stopping distance, so you should increase your following distance as you increase your speed. If you park facing uphill on a street with a curb, set the parking brake and A. Turn the front wheels toward the curb. B. Turn the front wheels away from the curb. C. Leave the front wheels straight. B. Turn the front wheels away from the curb. When parking uphill on a road that has a curb, your wheels should be turned away from the curb. When parking uphill on a street without a curb or when parking downhill, your wheels should be turned toward the curb or edge of the road. A driver should use the proper turn signal. Fill in the blank. Before beginning a turn. A. 50 feet. B. 75 feet. C. 25 feet. This sign means A. Trucks entering. B. Truck exit only. C. Steep downgrade ahead. C. Steep downgrade ahead. This sign warns that a steep downgrade is ahead on the road. Drivers should check their brakes. If you see a pedestrian using a guide dog or carrying a white cane. A. The pedestrian must yield the right of way. B. You must yield the right of way. C. Honk your horn to let them know you are there. B. You must yield the right of way. Blind or partially blind pedestrians may carry a white cane or use the assistance of a guide dog. You must yield the right of way to a pedestrian with a guide dog or a white cane.